Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I'm living here in Cebu City, the Philippines. The date is July 6th, 2017. Shortly after 4 p.m. local time, there was approximately a 6.5 earthquake in Leyte, the island of Leyte in the Philippines. And I was actually walking back into my condominium complex at about 4:30, and the first thing I was told by the office personnel is that we felt an earthquake. It was shaking in here. We were afraid. And anyway, in the last couple of hours I've been looking for news and information about that earthquake and what's going on, and it is just starting to trickle in. So I don't have a lot of specific details, but I will give you what I do know and give you some information on some apps that I use that give me information about earthquakes, earthquake predictions, that type of thing. This particular map shows the area of the Philippines on Leyte Island where it happened, the epicenter. And what usually happens over time is that they adjust the magnitude of earthquakes up or down based on newer information that they get. They are expecting aftershocks. My understanding is that there have been fatalities. They couldn't say how many. There was at least one building that collapsed in the area, a two-story smaller type mini mall is what I heard on the news, but your initial information can be terribly wrong, so take that all with a grain of salt. I did see some pictures of a road that had a crack in it. I've seen pictures of lots of people outside of the buildings crouching down on the ground. I have seen reports, and I'll show you some of that, of people reporting shaking. And keep in mind that when the ground is shaking, when something's happening, your sense of time becomes distorted. Some people say they felt the shaking for 10 seconds. Some people say they felt it for a couple minutes. Some say a couple of seconds. And it also, the earthquake waves don't go out evenly, and they go out in almost like rays, depending upon the earth structure underneath the area. So I'm going to show you some maps and tell you a little bit about what I know so far. This gives you a better idea of where Leyte is, the island of Leyte in the Visayas area in the Philippines. Another thing I'll comment is that Leyte was the hardest hit in, I believe it was November of 2013 by Typhoon Yolanda. Over 6,000 people were killed, and I believe there's still over 1,000 people that are missing, presumed dead. Here's some initial data on the date and the time, the location, the origin type, tectonic, and magnitude initially at 6.5. This map shows the intensity levels as it's spread out a bit according to initial reports. It's my understanding that the USGS has sensors in this area, but it's my understanding that the Philippines has many more sensors. Therefore, the Philippine earthquake people have better readings than what you get from the USGS. So if you see their readings from the US, they're often a little bit off and not quite as accurate. But this, you can see Cebu down there almost in the middle and left of the center there, and many people in Cebu felt it. I didn't. I was in a taxi going through traffic at the time. We did not feel it because we were rolling, but there's many reports of people feeling it, feeling the shaking, being afraid here. The administrator for Cebu City shut down the offices a little bit after the earthquake to inspect buildings to make sure they were safe to continue working in. This chart shows the intensities that were recorded, and I wish I could tell you exactly what that meant, but I don't have that data right now. Intensity 5, Tacloban City is within 2 hours, or closer than 2 hours, I believe, travel from the center of the earthquake. Cebu City is about 85 miles from the epicenter of the earthquake, so that's quite a ways for that shock wave to travel. You go down to intensity 4, even over in Negros Oriental, intensity 4, Bogo City, which is on the very north end of Cebu Island. Go down to intensity 2, San Jose, let's see, the Dinagat Islands, and I'm not quite sure where that's at, sorry about that, and then intensity 1. Here's another map that shows some of the population centers and the number of people that felt it in those population centers. Now, I use a few apps on my phone that give me information fairly quickly about earthquakes when they happen. A couple of them also give me information about predicting earthquakes and earthquake areas and as the potential moves around the world based on a number of factors. And a couple of them actually let you mark down that you felt this earthquake and the magnitude and how you felt about or feeling that earthquake, whether it was intense or just barely felt it, that type of thing. So anyway, up in the upper left-hand corner of my screen there on my phone is an app called Last Quake, and I like it. And you can set it up to give you notifications just locally within a certain area where you're at, or you can set it up to tell you about earthquakes all over the world, and they give you a lot of information. And I go all the way over to the right side of the screen, an app that I like, Volcanoes and Earthquakes. And you can get quite a bit of information about volcanoes going off, what type of volcano there are, as well as earthquakes. And you can zero in on the area, the map of the area, and get detailed information about that. And you can also mark down whether you felt it or not, and the magnitude that you thought that you felt. The next three apps that I use, upper right there on my phone, disaster prediction app, very interesting, and I'll show you some of the maps that they put out in predicting earthquakes. Down the lower left, that's Pagasa, that's Philippine Atmospheric and Geological something or other, and they put out typhoon type warnings. They have information on earthquakes as well. And over to the right, Philippine Weather and Earthquakes, they're tied in with Pagasa, and a lot of their information comes out of Pagasa, I believe. But it's laid out in a little easier to use type format, and there again you can set up the notifications any way that you wish, what type and how often and that type. The disaster prediction app is really quite interesting and gives you quite a bit of information on a number of things. They also have a number of websites, Suspicious Observers, QuakeWatch.net, and I'll show you a list of those also. They will actually teach you, give you information so that you can start predicting earthquakes as well. Here's some of the types of information you can get from that app on your phone. They have it for Android and Apple. Here's a couple screen grabs I've taken of their prediction maps a couple different days as the risk goes up in different parts of the world based on a number of things. And here is some of the websites that I follow, and I wish I had a lot more time to follow much more closely and learn a lot more about space weather, earth changes, quake watch, all the things that go into the earth moving around and causing the earthquakes. Anyway, I checked the news again, and there really isn't, the news is just kind of trickling in, and you don't know what is true and what isn't about the earthquake that happened just a couple of hours ago. As morning comes, more information will be coming in. And but anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and put this up. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And best wishes to anybody who is being affected directly by the earthquake. And safe travels to you all, and we'll see you next time.